as we take a look at the rest of our Suchi Power Pack starting lineup. Nick Tucker, the team owner of Nitro Motorsports, alongside two-time NASCAR Local Racing Series champion Connor Hall in the number 24. Landon Shane Huffman alongside reigning series champion Isaac Kitzmiller back there in row 3. Tristan McKee and Destiny Spurlock back there in row 4. LS George Siciliano alongside Quinn Davis in row 5. Toro Rodriguez alongside reigning Bounty Rookie of the Year Austin Vaughn back in row 6. Jackson McLaren alongside Craig Pellegrini Jr. in the number 10. Craig making his ARCA Menards East debut. Matt Kemp alongside Hunter Desatel back in row number 8. Brian Weber. Long time since we've seen Brian in a National Touring Series race. Good to have him with us alongside Michael Maples back there in row number 9. Toby Blanton and Dustin Hillenberg back in row 10. Nate Muller and Brian Barbaro, Army veteran Brian Barbaro back there in row 11. And Tim Monroe, we saw Tim right as the field was about to crank engines. He will go shotgun on the field here tonight. Take a look at the Hickory Motor Speedway track facts. Of course, this track opened back in 1951, was first paved in 1967, was repaved in 31 years ago, so that would be 1997, I guess. My math is terrible. Going to be repaved here in just a couple of weeks. Just about a third of a mile, 0.363 miles to be exact. 14 degrees of banking in turns 1 and 2, 12 degrees in turns 3 and 4. And this racetrack hosted the NASCAR Cup Series from 1953 all the way through 1971. So look at the Paramount Kia Pace car as we send it down trackside to Jacqueline Drake for tonight's Cookout 200 Keys to Victory. Jacqueline?
Well, the drivers in the field tonight, they want to be the first driver to ever win an ARCA Series East race here at Hickory. What are the keys? Well, first, they're going to need to save tires. This is a rough surface. They don't want to burn up that right rear, and they definitely don't want to be sliding that right front too much. The next thing, you're going to want to survive this race. It's 200 laps. This surface isn't easy to survive. Everyone behind you, we also got a lot of rookies in the field. Lastly, you have to beat Max Reeves. He has 3 ARCA East wins, and starting on the front pole with that 18 and JGR Camp right behind him. Who's it going to be 200 laps ahead?
And we are 1 lap away from getting things underway. Can anybody beat Max Reeves here tonight? That will be the question. Reeves undefeated in his 3 previous ARCA Menards East starts. And he will roll from the pole here tonight. Pace car will be pulling off into the infield. Don't forget, folks, visit ARCARacing.com Monday, 3 o'clock Eastern to see who we pick for tonight's Reese's Sweet Move of the race. Pace car in the infield. It is time to rock, roll, and rumble here at Hickory Motor Speedway. Reeves gets to jump as it looks like Nealon spinning the tires coming to green. Max Reeves leads across the line to complete lap number 1. Battle on for third between Landon Shane Huffman and Derek Nealon. Nealon going to drop back into the 4th position. He's got his teammate Tristan McKee to his inside. Nealon slipping the tires on that initial start, and he is trying to regain some of that lost ground, at the very least trying to get back down into that bottom lane. That bottom lane, definitely the preferred groove around this weathered and worn racing surface. And right now, Derek Nealon hung out to dry as Connor Hall in the 24 car, now looking to slide to the inside. Nealon going backwards in a hurry here at the start. Connor Hall patiently using the bottom side of the racetrack as he looks inside of Derek Nealon. There's a good look at Derek. Full-time spotter for Kyle Busch and Austin Hill in the NASCAR O'Reilly Auto Parts Series. Derek finally getting to the inside as the caution flag coming out for the first time here tonight. Brian Barbaro in the number 34 getting turned sideways off of turn 2. That'll put us under caution for the first time with 4 laps in the books. Logan, what'd you see on that initial start? Looked like Derek Nealon, a lot of anxiety, a lot of anxiousness to get going here. It looks like he might have slipped those tires just a touch coming to green.
Yeah, it's always a really nerve-wracking moment coming on that first restart. I'm sure he'll pull it together on the second restart and probably get it rolling a little bit better. I know with the temperature drop here, they're all having issues getting back bottom, right where everyone was for practice and qualifying. So shall be interesting to see how those tires come in, if they can keep it low to that apron.
First caution flag of the night coming out here on lap number 4 for Brian Barbaro, sideways over in turn 2. Max Reeves continuing to show the way. Nick Tucker with a good initial start there as well. At one point, I did see Nick locking up that left front tire going down into turn 1. So I think a lot of anxious energy behind the wheel in the number 70 car as well. We'll keep an eye on Nick as we get set to go back racing here in just a moment. Let's see if we can take a look at what happened over here coming off of turn 2 to put us under caution for the first time here tonight. Dark as the sun goes down, and it looks like Brian, you saw that car just jump sideways on him right there. As a matter of fact, Brian had that exact same thing happen to him here yesterday in practice coming off of turn 4, but no harm, no foul for Brian Barbaro. So he will tag on to the tail end of the field. There is Brian Weber in the Integrity Auto Sports, number 13. Brian, a veteran of the NASCAR O'Reilly Auto Parts Series in the early part of the 2020s. First time in about 15 years that Brian has strapped into an ARCA car. Good to have him here with us, but apparently some troubles early in the race have sent him down onto pit road. So field continuing to circulate behind the pace car. Max Reeves, your leader. Landon Shane Huffman there in second. Nick Tucker, Tristan McKee, and Connor Hall rounding out the top 5. How about this? A shout out for Squirrel McNutt, LS George in that number 0 car. Talked to George before the race. Pretty excited to make his ARCA Menards East debut. He's got a lot of fans here in the stands, so George looking for a good night here tonight. He is currently circulating towards the back of the top 10. Field doubling up behind the pace car. 1 to go signal has been given, so we'll go back racing next time around. Coming to complete lap number 10. As I mentioned pre-race, we will race to lap 100 for the 5-minute break at the halfway point. Pace car now back down onto pit road. Max Reeves and Nick Tucker up on the front row. Nick Tucker spinning the tires a little bit in that outside lane coming back to green. Reeves jumping out to the lead, and now Tucker has his hands full with Landon Shane Huffman in the number 9. Huffman digging hard to the bottom side of the racetrack. Ooh, look inside the cockpit. Those drivers sawing hard on those steering wheels through turns 3 and 4. Tucker really rolling the top side well down into turns 1 and 2. Let's see if he can keep that momentum up in 3 and 4. Huffman keeping that car wet right on that yellow line, and he will take the second position. And now Tucker trying to dive it back down to the bottom side of the racetrack, and now immediately starting to feel some heat from Connor Hall in the 24. And there is George Siciliano, LS George, got down into the dirt off of turn 2. And he's going to bring that car down onto pit road. So a tough break early on for LS George. He's going to roll right through pit road and try to get back out onto the racetrack. Meanwhile, battle back on inside the top 5. Teammates going at it. Tristan McKee feeling some heat there from Derek Nealon in the 28 as they work to the outside of Nate Muller in the 06. Nick Tucker, Connor Hall in the 24. Tristan McKee in the 77. 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th. Look at Derek Nealon turning that race car hard left through the center of the corner there, trying to find some grip. Sometimes that grip found on the pit road entrance. Nealon looking for that grip, trying to find his way back around. Tristan McKee in the 77, both of those cars, the 77 and the 28, out of the Pinnacle Racing Group shops. Spent some time with Tristan McKee earlier today. He's got his younger sister here. She told him if he won the Super Late Model race down at South Alabama Speedway, the Rattler 250 a couple of weeks ago, she expected him to buy a go-kart. Out of his share of winnings, Tristan said, yeah, I don't think my bank account was quite ready for that purchase, but in any case, Tristan looking for his first ARCA Menards East victory here tonight. Of course, made his ARCA Menards Series national debut up at Watkins Glen International last August and went to victory lane in his debut race, the second youngest winner in ARCA Menards Series history, just 3 days older than Todd Gilliland was. Todd was 15 years, 1 day of age. Tristan was 15 years, 4 days of age with his victory. Open up the gap a little bit on Derek Nealon there in the number 28. Nealon starting now about to start to feel some pressure there from Isaac Kitzmiller in the 79. Isaac, of course, the reigning ARCA Menards East champion. Ooh, we're going to stack them. Almost thought we were going to stack them 3 wide down there in turns 1 and 2. Michael Maples wisely rolling out of the throttle. He's going to look to the inside of Brian Barbaro there down into turn 3. Thought we were going to see a little pinball action there, but all those drivers keeping their heads on straight. Now Maples looking to the inside of Barbaro. Battle between the 2 lap cars there. That could have been exciting, and I'll tell you what, that could be one of our Reese's Sweet Move candidates right there for Isaac Kitzmiller in the 79, wisely avoiding the problems right there. Ooh, there is a close call right there for Derek Nealon in the 28. Coming up on the back bumper of that 0 car. George Siciliano to jump on the binders there or get into the back of his teammate. Wisely chose to jump on the binders. Nealon now looking to the outside of Tristan McKee. McKee was not happy with that race car in the optional practice session at the racetrack here yesterday. These teams had 2.5 hours to shake these race cars down and kind of fine-tune their setups, and he was not overall happy with that race car, but they had another 45 minutes of practice here today, and I think they got that car a little better for him. But apparently that car's still not quite handling where he would like it. There is a look at our leader, Max Reeves in the number 18. Max has set sail. He has opened up a little bit of a gap over Landon Shane Huffman there in second. And there is the best battle on the racetrack right now. Derek Nealon has found his way past Tristan McKee, and now McKee feeling some heat from Isaac Kitzmiller there in the number 79. So it has been a torrid pace here in the early going. Logan Mizuraka. Max has really started to open up that gap on second place.
Yeah, just a few laps into this race, and he's already coming up on the 10th place car of this. So just goes to show you with this lap traffic, we still have a pretty diverse field out there, and he's just making that top line work, and lap traffic isn't even becoming a play for him.
And right now, Max Reeves in that 18 car putting some pressure on Quinn Davis in the number 85. Quinn in that 10th position. So right now, Max Reeves leaving just 9 cars on the lead lap, and his lap time still in the 15.8 second bracket. Most other drivers in the 16.1 to 16.2 bracket right now. So that 18 car a quarter of a second or more faster than the bulk of the field as he looks around Toro Rodriguez there in the number 38. So now just 8 cars remain on the lead lap. A very torrid pace set here in the early going by Max Reeves. There's another driver we heard from at the top of the show, Destiny Spurlock in the number 66, becoming the first ever black female to start a race in the ARCA Menards Series East. Destiny drifting up the racetrack just a touch there as Max went around, but her first ever race, not her first race here at Hickory Motor Speedway though. She has been running in the track's local late model division and picked up a top 5 finish here just a couple of weeks back. So Destiny making that transition from straight line motorcycle racing all the way to 4 wheels here at Hickory Motor Speedway. Here's a look at that battle between Tristan McKee and Isaac Kitzmiller, and those two have separated themselves just a touch here the last couple of laps. McKee settling into 6th position. Isaac Kitzmiller in the 79 car back in 7th. Kitzmiller's car looking a little loose there through the corners as he tries to keep Tristan McKee in sight. Kitzmiller having a teammate for the first time this week that is not his father. Normally, Jason Kitzmiller. The teammate is, we've got a car smoking down the backstretch. The 85 car, Quinn Davis, slowing to a stop. At least slowing up in turns 3 and 4. Looks like she may have. Looks like there may be a problem with the rear suspension of that car, and indeed caution flag is out. And Logan, I'll tell you what, I know you've been working pretty closely with Quinn here the last couple of months or so. What do you think it looks like the issue is with the race car there?
Yeah, it's looking to me like something in the rear end. I know we felt something in it earlier, so hopefully it's not it. Hopefully you can bring it in, team can get it fixed up and get it back out for her. I know she's worked so hard, so, and she was running a pretty solid race there, running in the top 10, so hopefully we can get it back out.
So Quinn Davis looks like a broken track bar on the right side of that automobile will bring her down pit road. Tough break for that young lady. She had an impressive debut last year driving for another team. Finished 9th in her first ever ARCA Menards East start up at Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway. And that may be an early end to her night tonight. Jacqueline, what do you see down there?
Yeah, we got all hands on deck right now, hoods up, and they're looking at that right front right now and just seeing if there's something going on with the tire, but continuing to assess now on looking at underneath the rear end as well. Flashlights, air, all the things that you could need, just trying to see exactly what they can do for this 85, and of course getting Quinn back out on the track.
Yeah, they're going to have their work cut out for them. I don't know how easy it is to repair a broken track bar here during the race, but indeed that does look like that what the issue will be. There is Max Reeves in the number 18. Max has led all of the 42 laps so far here tonight. We're going to step away for a very quick break. When we come back, we'll restack them and get set to go back racing live here at Hickory Motor Speedway. Welcome back to Hickory Motor Speedway live coverage of the Cookout 200, and there is the driver of the Cookout Toyota for Joe Gibbs Racing. Max Reeves started P1 here tonight and has led every one of the 44, make it 45 laps so far. There is Destiny Spurlock in the number 66 car. She will get the free pass under this caution flag and rejoin the tail end of the lead lap. That will give us 8 cars on the lead lap as we get set to go back racing. Bring back in Logan Mizuraka. Logan, let's hop in the cockpit behind the wheel. What are these drivers thinking after nearly a quarter of the race so far? How are they concerned about tire wear at this point?
I think at this point they know exactly the car that they got for the rest of the race here, at least until the midway break. So I think they still got a little bit of tires left, especially after this nice cool down because it's been very cold out right now. So we'll see once they get back going. They probably got about 10, 20 laps left though until they start struggling.
We'll send it back down pit side to Jacqueline Drake for an update on Quinn Davis.
A little bit of an upside here for the 85 and Quinn. It's actually the bolt of the track bar has sheared off, so they're went back into the trailer trying to find a bolt to replace that and get that 85 back out.
So it's not as bad as it could have been for the City Garage Motorsports team, as they should be able to get that repaired and get her back on the racetrack as we get set to go back racing. Max Reeves and Shane Huffman up on the front row. Connor Hall alongside Nick Tucker back there in row 2. The Pinnacle Racing Group teammates back there in row 3. Let's see what happens here on this restart. Great restart from that top side for Landon Shane Huffman in the number 9, side by side down the backstretch with Max Reeves. And now Huffman going to try to turn it hard left to get underneath Reeves through turns 3 and 4. Couldn't quite make that move stick, but that was perhaps the best restart we've seen all night long from somebody on the front row in that outside lane. That could be some interesting knowledge for the second half of the race yet to come. And there is Connor Hall. First time we've seen him up in the top 3 so far here tonight. So a good restart for both Huffman in the 9 and Hall in the number 24. Battle on just behind this group of race cars. There you see on the right side of the screen, Derek Nealand in the 28. He has had a pretty good restart here. He's looking to the inside of Nick Tucker. Tucker drifting way up the racetrack there in turns 1 and 2. Nealand to the bottom side. He's going to pick up that position. So move Derek Nealand back up into the top 4. Let's see if Tristan McKee in the 77 able to follow him through. Right now, Nick Tucker hung out to dry in that outside lane. It's exactly what happened to Nealand on that initial start. And it looks like that number 70 car starting to get a little tail happy, a little contact there between he and Isaac Kitzmiller there off of turn 2. Saw the smoke fly. Those two cars making tire-to-tire contact off of turn 2. Good side-by-side battle for position. 6th and 7th up for grabs. As they work to the back bumper of Nate Muller there in the number 06 car. Those cars stringing out into single file order. So Tucker has gone from 4th on the restart, now back to 7th after a handful of laps, and all of that due to the fact he could not get that car back down to the bottom side of the racetrack on that restart. There's Derek Nealand working to the outside of Brian Barbaro as we jump back up to the front of the field, a little closer to the front of the field anyhow. There's Connor Hall in the 24. There's a good look at the Hoosier Mama, Hoosier Daddy, number 9. Landon Shane Huffman out of nearby Connolly Springs, North Carolina. 4-time late model stock car race winner right here at Hickory Motor Speedway. Of course, his father, Shane Huffman, a former ARCA Menards Series championship winning crew chief. Former track champion here in a couple of different divisions at Hickory Motor Speedway. And those championships kind of launched Shane into the old USAR Hooters Pro Cup Series, and then an opportunity to drive in the NASCAR O'Reilly Auto Parts Series for Junior Motorsports before he transitioned into his current role as a team crew chief and team manager. Another young driver right there that has had some success at this racetrack. Connor Hall, a former winner of the Cars Tour Throwback 276 right here at Hickory Motor Speedway. Connor, a 2-time NASCAR Local Racing Series national champion. Look for Connor Hall to drive numerous races for the Sigma Performance Services number 24 team. You know, when Connor Hall won that Throwback 276 race here a couple of years ago, defeated a very young William Sawalich in that race. I wonder what William has gone on to do here the last couple of years. Of course, I kid, William, a 2-time ARCA Menards East champion in his own right. Now racing up in the NASCAR O'Reilly Auto Parts Series. Connor Hall giving that 24 car a very good run here in the early going. And I'll tell you what, these 3 drivers, Derek Nealand, Tristan McKee, and Isaac Kitzmiller, have been going at it like cats and dogs just about every lap since the start of this race. Nealand, of course, started up on the front row, spun the tires coming to green and lost a handful of positions, but ever since he has kind of found his level, he has been going at it with his teammate Tristan McKee in the 77, Isaac Kitzmiller there in the 79, Nick Tucker in that number 70 car, trying to tag on to the back end of that line and battle for this position as well. But this has been the best battle on the racetrack since the drop of the green to get us back underway after the second caution flag of the night. And that group of cars finding a pack of lap cars directly in front. Neal had to make an evasive move right there to avoid LS George. Tristan McKee in that mix also had to make an evasive move. That could be one of our Reese's Sweet Move of the race candidates right there. And now McKee looking to the inside of Hunter Desautels there in the 57. Don't forget, folks, log on to arcaracing.com Monday, 3 o'clock Eastern time to see who is crowned tonight's Reese's Sweet Move of the race winner. Logan, how hard is it to keep your patience when you're in a battle for position and working your way through lap cars who are battling for position?
Yeah, no one's had anything from Max right now, but I've been watching Tucker's car, and he's really coming up through it, and it's either they're holding back that 18 or they're holding him back. So it's just going to be a battle of who gets held up the longest, but he has not left him at all. And it looks like Max is having some issues getting through traffic, and same for Tucker, so we'll see what they do here.
Right now, Max Reeves stretching out a 1.4 second lead over Landon Shane Huffman in second. Connor Hall, Derek Nealon, and Tristan McKee rounding out the top 5. And of course, Max Reeves looking for his 4th consecutive ARCA Menards East victory. Look at this. A gaggle of race cars down into turns 1 and 2. We're going to stack them 3 wide. Brian Weber wisely rolling out of the throttle right there as that position between Nick Tucker and Isaac Kitzmiller raging on to his inside. And these drivers throwing everything they have at it. And there goes Nick Tucker. He's going to go around down in turns 1 and 2. That flag for the 3rd time here tonight. And Nick Tucker trying to work his way past Isaac Kitzmiller. Saw that lap car in front of him. And I don't think he had any other option right there but to lock that car down and get her turned around. But that's going to move Nick Tucker, unfortunately, to the back of the lead lap. And maybe more importantly, flat spot those tires.
And it's looking now like the 85 is going to get back out there, so just get her out there to run those laps and get the rest of that experience under her belt.
Let's take a look at what happened. Keep an eye on the 70 car at the tail end of that line. They caught the back bumper there of Brian Weber. And it looks like they're going to stack them 3 wide right here. He's to the inside of Isaac Kitzmiller, and there is another lap car to the inside, Nate Muller. They're going to come down into turn 1, and right about there, Nick realized he was running out of options, and I think that was all he could do is kind of lock her down and hope he was going to keep that car off the outside wall. So Max Reeves continuing to show the way. He has led every one of the 74 laps so far here tonight. Landon Huffman sitting back there in second. Connor Hall, Derek Nealon, and Tristan McKee rounding out the top 5. We're going to step away for a very quick break. When we come back, we'll line them back up and get set to go back racing here in the Cookout 200. Big weekend of racing coming up at Rockingham Speedway next weekend. NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, ARCA Menards East, and the NASCAR O'Reilly Auto Parts Series. I am looking forward to that one. Here is a look at our upcoming schedule for the ARCA Series platform here on Flow Racing. Rockingham coming up next Saturday morning, 11:30 green flag. Tucson Speedway coming up on April 11th. ARCA Night in America coming up May 2nd. We're going to have a doubleheader. Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway for the East, Shasta Speedway for the West, and Colorado National Speedway coming up on May 23rd. Here's other events coming up live here on Flow Racing. We talked about Rockingham on the 4th, the ZMAX Cars Tour in action at Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway. That is going to be a big deal. Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the field coming up on April 11th. The Wayland Modified Tour coming up from Thompson Speedway on April 12th. Opening night at the Stadium, Bowman Gray coming up on April 18th. And how about this? USAC Midgets in action. The Kokomo Grand Prix coming up on April 25th. And the Interstate Batteries High Limit Series also coming up in the month of April. And again, folks, I cannot beg you enough. Please, I'm on my hands and knees here. Tune in to us live here on Flow Racing next Saturday morning, 11:15 Eastern Time. next ARCA Menards East race live from Rockingham Speedway. Jacqueline, what you got down on pit road?
Yeah, just a quick update on that 70, who was the cause of the last yellow. He just came in. They did a little bit of a track bar adjustment, but they said no other concerns behind the hood of that 70 and sent it back out.
And, of course, Nick Tucker has a former ARCA Menards East champion-winning crew chief, Shannon Rush, overseeing the efforts on that number 70. Let's take one more look at what happened to put us under the third caution flag of the night. Keep an eye on that 70 car. He's going to haul off down into turn one and see that 06 car down there, and he realized there was not enough room for 3 cars right there, and he jumped on the brakes and just hoped that that 70 car wasn't going to go up into that outside wall. Another look at it right there. Good job by Nick locking it down. I bet you the team owner was probably going to give him a real hard time if he backed that one into the outside wall right there. So a close call for Nick Tucker. But, he will live to fight another day as he will tag on to the tail end of the lead lap for the upcoming restart, which should give us about 20 laps to go to the midway point, lap 100. Again, a 5-minute break coming up at lap 100. Teams will have time to change tires, add some fuel, make any adjustments. All right, before we go back green, the final race for what is now the NASCAR O'Reilly Auto Parts Series was held here back in 1998. Who was the winner? We're going to let you know after the halfway break as we get set to go back green flag racing. Max Reeves alongside Landon Shane Huffman there in the number 9. See if Huffman can try to dive to the bottom side here in turns 3 and 4. He's going to try to stick it down there, but couldn't quite get there. Max Reeves slamming the door shut, and now the battle on for 3rd and 4th. Here comes Derek Nealand in that 28 car. That is a very stout race car, and I think with each and every lap that he gets behind the wheel, Derek Nealand getting some experience, and more importantly, I think especially after that initial start, getting some confidence back behind the wheel in that number 28 car. Is now, look at that, the top 7 cars in the running order now nose to tail. Well, at least 6 of the top 7 cars nose to tail. Max Reeves is kind of broken away by a couple of car lengths there at the front of the field. Reeves has been largely unchallenged so far here tonight in that number 18 car. Of course, Matt Ross overseeing things for the Joe Gibbs Racing team as we see one car, the 00 car of Toby Blanton, making his way down onto pit road. Matt Ross overseeing things with the Joe Gibbs Racing number 18 team, and that car already in mid-season form. Well, that 18 car handling through the corners and handling down the straightaway. You saw that car lifting the nose off the ground as he gets on the power. Looking to the outside of LS George, and there's Brian Weber down the backstretch. Those cars staying well out of the way of the leaders. So what an impressive run by Landon Huffman in the number 9. His first ever start in the ARCA Menards Series East, joining the Cody Rohrball-led CR7 Motorsports team as a teammate to Isaac Kitzmiller in the number 79. Landon with an impressive performance, sitting in that 2nd position as we come to halfway this time around. 100 laps complete, 100 laps in the books. Cross flags from Denise Engel on the flag stand. Denise, of course, the only full-time female chief starter in American stock car racing. And she will put out the caution flag here momentarily. And indeed, caution lights are out. 4th caution flag of the day. There's a good look at Denise Engel waving the yellow silk from the flag stand. So everybody will bunch up behind the pace car. We'll bring them down onto pit road. Once the final car stops, we'll start that 5-minute clock to give them the opportunity to change tires, add fuel, and make adjustments. Welcome back to live coverage of the Cookout 200 here on Flow Racing and the NASCAR channel. There is the work underway down on our leader, Max Reeves. And for more coverage from pit road, we're going to send it down to Jacqueline Drake. Jacqueline?
Yeah, guys, everyone's here on that break for the Cookout 200. And we're first going to talk about the number 18 here, Max Reeves. He's led all the way so far. Very strong outing for this JGR team. I spoke with his crew chief. He said he's extremely happy with how he sits in the car. Just want a slight adjustments. They also just want to take a moment to cool off and get those tires set. Of course, they got new tires on. Moving a little bit further back, though, we're going to look at the number 9 here of Landon S. Huffman. Also very happy with his car. Still learning. This is his debut. They tightened it up a little bit just to make him a little bit more comfortable in that number 9. And then finally, rolling off in third, actually Connor Hall's team, they just pushed out that Sigma car, that number 24. They said he is very loose. He actually really loves the long runs in comparison to a few short runs that we've had, just with a few cautions here and there. But they also tightened him up, and he's feeling a little bit more comfortable with these adjustments as they send him back out.
Thank you very much, Jacqueline. Good to have you down there on pit road for us here tonight. Look forward to more updates throughout the course of the second half here tonight at
Sorry,
Hickory.
they moved the car right when we did it.
So once the final car is done, we're going to reload everybody down on the backstretch and roll off. Nobody is going to gain position or lose position under these pit stops, non-competitive pit stops. So we will get them back in the position they came down on pit road. Connor Hall and Derek Neeland will go from row number 2. Tristan McKee and Isaac Kitzmiller in row 3. Nick Tucker and Destiny Spurlock will go from row 4. All right, Logan, so we've got 100 laps in the books, a little less than 100 to go. We talked about the keys to victory. Beating Max Reeves, I thought, was the number one most important key to victory here tonight. Do you think anybody's going to be able to do that after what we've seen here in the first half?
You know, I think Huffman's got something for him. At the end of the first half, he was not leaving him that much, and he wasn't getting that much of a lead over him. So hopefully they made the right adjustments so they can get out there and make some moves on Max Reeves.
I think this restart could be the key. Of course, you don't know how many caution flags we're going to have. Every restart could be the last one. I think Landon Huffman's going to have to see if he can make it stick here on this upcoming restart. We'll see if he can maybe perhaps out-drag him off of turn 2 and down the backstretch. Take a look at the highlights of the first 100 laps. There was Derek Neeland getting a little sideways coming to green. There's Brian Barbaro getting turned sideways, put us under caution for the first time. Ooh, look at that, some agricultural racing for the Squirrel. Squirrel McNutt getting her off the racetrack down the backstretch. Close call right there for Brian Barbaro, and there's a very tough break for young Miss Quinn Davis there, the number 85, broken track bar mount on the number 85 car. And we've seen these guys knocking fenders and knocking each other out of the way all night long. There's a nice move through traffic for Max Reeves as he put Destiny Spurlock a lap down. And look at this, Nick Tucker falling on the sword right there. He was either going to pile in the back of Nate Muller or have to find plan B, and he chose plan B right there. Pace car now down into the infield. Green flag back out. Max Reeves and Landon Huffman on the hammer down into turn 1. And we've got them stacked up on the front stretch. Somebody didn't get going there, and I thought we were going to stack them up going down into turn 1. There is the front of the field. Top 6 cars, again, nose to tail, as they have been much of the night. Max Reeves with the lead over Landon Huffman in the 9. And look at this battle. Teammates going to war for 4th position. Tristan McKee to the inside. There's Derek Neeland now to the outside. McKee with the preferred line. We're going to see there is Neeland really being aggressive, trying to get back to the bottom of the racetrack. Slamming the door shut there on Nick Tucker in the 70. So these starts and restarts have been an adventure here tonight as it has gotten cooler. It was a very cool day. It looked like a Chamber of Commerce day throughout the course of the day. Not a cloud in the sky all afternoon long, but it only ever got to about 62 degrees, and as the sun has gone down, it's dropped through the 50s and may even drop into the upper 40s by the end of the race here tonight. So a very cool night, and these drivers really struggling to get some tire temperature built up, particularly early in these runs. Right now, someone who is not having any problem at all with his race car early in this run, Tristan McKee in the 77, that car on rails after that restart. To the inside of Connor Hall to take over third. So Tristan McKee, we heard from his crew chief, Kevin Reed Jr. Obviously some very good adjustments on that 77 car, as he has picked up a couple of positions since the drop of that green flag. Closing in on Landon Huffman now. McKee trying to look to the outside. Battle on for second. Huffman going to have to play some defense here. He needs to get to that lap car. Maybe use Brian Weber as a pick. That's exactly what he's going to do down into 3 and 4. McKee going to have to fall back in line, but I don't know if Landon Huffman can play defense for the next 84 laps. Right now, that 77 car looking really stout for Tristan McKee. McKee trying to work his way to the bottom side of the racetrack. That car about a half a car width lower on the racetrack through turns 1 and 2. That car turning extremely well right now. And of course, turning very important on a racetrack that is virtually circular.
Yeah, and it looks like Huffman is not giving it to him easy. He's making him play the hard way. He's letting Max leave a little bit.
Battle on second, third, and fourth. Landon Huffman, Tristan McKee, Connor Hall, all going to battle. McKee with a little shove on the back bumper there of Huffman down into turn 1. He's going to move Huffman up the racetrack just a touch. Can he make the move before they get to that 57 car? Huffman going to fight him off. I didn't think Huffman was going to be able to play defense for 84 laps. And look at that, more contact. Huffman up the racetrack, McKee to the inside. McKee will take over second. Here comes Hall to try to take over third. You had to wonder how long McKee was going to be patient behind Huffman, and we got our answer. And that move right there could be a Reese's Sweet Move candidate. And Connor Hall going to go to the same school of thought. He's going to use the bumper on Huffman. Don't forget, folks, log on to ARCARacing.com Monday, 3 o'clock Eastern time. See who we choose for tonight's Reese's Sweet Move of the race. That move by Tristan McKee to get Huffman up out of the groove right now. Pretty much the leading candidate. Let's see if McKee able to start to reel in Max Reeves. Reeves now 2.1 seconds ahead of this battle for second, third, and fourth. 75 laps to go, 2.1 seconds the gap. Does McKee have enough race car and enough time to close that gap? Oh, right, he is not going to like that. Toro Rodriguez and Brian Barbaro side by side. Going to cost him about 0.3 of a second, and Rodriguez trying to get out of the way. He gets into McKee. McKee going to lose second. Rodriguez trying to get out of the way, did not know. McKee was to his inside. Those cars made contact. McKee lost all of his momentum, and Huffman going to retake that position. All of that hard work to get past Landon Huffman, and it goes away in a blink of an eye. Now does McKee have enough race car to get back around Landon Huffman in the number 9? Boy, what a tough break for Tristan McKee in that 77. Looked like he had the race car and the momentum to work his way through that top 5 and perhaps chase down Max Reeves. Let's take a look. Right side of the screen. Keep an eye. Oh, right there. Those two cars coming together. one more look at it. McKee to the bottom side. Rodriguez had no idea he was going to look to the inside. He was trying to get out of the way. Contact was made. McKee got sideways, made a terrific save. But unfortunately for him, fortunately for Landon Huffman, Huffman able to power by on the outside and retake that second position. But that has been to the benefit of Max Reeves. Max now 3 seconds ahead of this battle for second, third, and fourth. You know, we also talked about keys to victory. One of them was beating Max Reeves. The other was going to avoid trouble. That's exactly what we were talking about. A lot of race cars on a bull ring like Hickory Motor Speedway doesn't give you a lot of room to move. And that's exactly what jumped up and bit Tristan McKee in that 77. Logan, how frustrating is it as a race car driver? You know you've got a good race car, you're able to work your way through traffic, and then kind of a little miscommunication on the racetrack gives up all that track position you fought for.
Yeah, it sometimes comes down to driver's instinct. If you see a car down low, you got to make the driver's intuition choice to just go high and try to avoid these things. But it just comes down to the call of, do you want to listen to the voice in your ear or do it yourself? Looks like we got a caution on the front stretch here.
Brian Barbaro in the 34 car sideways for the second time here tonight, so that will put us under the caution flag for the 5th time. No contact made there, despite a pack of race cars coming off of turn 4 right as he was coming to a stop. So a close call there for Brian Barbaro. But a little damage on the tail end of the reigning ARCA Menards East champion. Isaac Kitzmiller. That could have been some damage from the previous restart.
Now that we're bunching this field back up, I'm curious to see what McKee and Huffman do on this restart.
Let's take a look at what happened here coming off of turn 4. There's Brian Barbaro. Car just jumps out from underneath, and right about there is when I thought we were going to see some problems. But Barbaro wisely locking that car down did not allow it to roll back up to the top side of the racetrack. So no harm, no foul. Barbaro will get it pointed back in the right direction and fall in his appropriate position in the running order. So that will give us about 60 laps to go. Now coming to complete lap 138. Take a look at the previous restart. Keep a look at that car to the outside, and right there is where that damage came to Isaac Kitzmiller, and that's when I thought we were going to stack them up right there. Destiny Spurlock, she was ready to go in that 66 car, and unfortunately, Isaac spinning the tires a little bit, and Destiny packing that rear bumper in a little bit on the 79 car. We'll send it back down pit side. Jacqueline, what you got?
Yeah, guys, we've been down here in pit road and speaking to the 4th, 5th, and 6th place on that last break and all the adjustments that we made. First off, let's talk about Tristan McKee. He said, we made 0 adjustments. They came in, they put tires on, and that was it. And then Nick Tucker in that number 70 was able to speak to them, and they did a lot of work. Air pressure, wedge, track bar, and a left rear spring rubber was pulled. They said, we don't have the car to win, so we need to make the changes now. And then Derek Nealon in that 28, he said, I just need a little bit more drive off. They made a wedge judgment and also a track bar, and that's going to round out the top 6.
Thank you very much, Jacqueline. Appreciate all your hard work down there on pit road. So another one of the keys to victory here tonight, Logan. We talked about avoiding trouble. We talked about keeping the tires underneath the car. We talked about beating Max Reeves. I think one of the things that we're going to have to avoid is keeping away from the perfidiousness on these restarts. A lot of mischief on these restarts.
A kerfuffle, per se.
A kerfuffle, per se, on these restarts. And we need to not spin tires. We need to not be making contact. If you're going to go to victory lane, you got to keep every part of this race car in straight running order, correct?
Yeah, and that's going to be key for the 77 and Tristan McKee out there. I know he worked really hard to get around Huffman, so we'll see if he can use that Max Reeves right in front of him to his advantage and get right in front of that 9 and go.
So I've got word of the day toilet paper at home, so that's where I know perfidiousness.
I have a Word of the Day magazine to know kerfuffle.
What a great crowd here at Hickory Motor Speedway here tonight. And we've got Fox Sports analyst Phil Parsons in the booth. And Phil, you did say this crowd looks like the old days, and it does. It looks like the old days. An absolutely jam-packed parking lot here tonight. And we're going to look at this trivia question. And you were in the field for this final NASCAR O'Reilly Auto Parts Series race. Who won that last race here back in 1998?
Well, I would guess if it's 1998, it might have been Jeff Green or Jason Keller. I'm not sure. I was in the first race here back in 1982, as well as the last in 98.
It was,
but I don't remember.
It was his one and only victory.
Ed Barrier.
Yeah, one of my favorite wins of all time right there.
Yeah, he did a great job that day for sure.
As we get set to go back racing, Phil, good to have you here with us. We'll see you back on the air for the ARCA Menards Series at Kansas in a couple of weeks.
That's right. Also, we'll be doing the truck race from Rockingham next week. So, yeah, looking forward to that. Yeah.
We'll see you there.
It'll be a great weekend.
Coming back to Green Flag Racing, there is Max Reeves to the inside of Landon Huffman. Huffman with could be his final shot to get up there and try to take that lead away from Reeves. He's going to hang to the outside. Might have been a little contact there. More contact going into 3. Here comes McKee trying to make it 3 wide. Wow, some intense racing. After the restart here with 56 laps to go, but Reeves going to hold off that challenge from Huffman, and now here comes McKee to the inside for second. You knew it was going to get hairy on that restart, and that was everything I thought it was going to be. And here comes McKee one more time trying to clear, and he does. He's going to clear Landon Huffman to take over second. Now the question is, does Tristan McKee have enough race car to get up there and battle with Max Reeves for the lead? And talk about a battle. There is a battle for position. 5th, 6th, and 7th. 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th up for grabs. Here's Connor Hall to the inside of Derek Nealon. The battle for 4th. Give it to Connor Hall off of turn 4. You know, regardless of where Derek Nealon ends up here tonight, he has had a terrific race in that number 28. Talked to him down on the racetrack right before the start. He said, I don't know that I am ever going to have another chance in my life to come out and do this. This is a once-in-a-lifetime race. I've been having a blast. I just hope I can do a good enough job that this race car deserves. And I'll tell you what, Derek Nealon doing a fantastic job behind the wheel of the car that he spots for on a very regular basis. Nealon trying to get back underneath Connor Hall to retake that 4th position. All up the racetrack. Here comes Derek Nealon. He's going to put the nose to the inside. Give him the position down the front stretch. 50 laps remaining. Derek Nealon retaking the 4th position. So, Phil, you still have your headset on, so I'm going to ask you a question about Max Reeves. We've seen Max here at the ARCA Menards East win 3 consecutive races as we've got a problem off of turn 4. LS George getting turned sideways, so that'll put us back under the caution flag for the 6th time here tonight. But as Squirrel McNutt comes to a stop down there at pit road entrance, how impressive is young Max Reeves? 3 career ARCA Menards East starts, 3 career wins. We've seen him win in the ARCA Menards National Series. Looks like he's well on his way to victory here tonight. Have you ever seen a young man start his career with the type of momentum that Max Reeves has?
Well, Connor Zilich did pretty good, too, starting his career, as well as Sawalich, too. So he's one of those guys in that long list of young drivers that have really excelled in this series. I didn't get to see his first 3 East Series wins last year, but all the National Series races, I was fortunate enough to be able to do the TV. Really impressive for as young as he is to have the maturity that he has. Plus he has Bobby Labonte kind of as his driver coach, and that's sure is an advantage for him.
So I asked Bobby what the number 1 piece of advice that he has to give Max here at the racetrack, and he said, put your phone down.
I think you have to do that to every kid. I think we have to do that to every kid.
Every kid. Some of us adults, too, unfortunately. Why don't we go ahead and take a look at the restart And then we'll take a look at what put us under caution is George Siciliano getting turned back in the right direction. And he's going to bring that car back down onto pit road to Mark Rett and the team. Let's take a look at this restart. And there was a lot of action as the pace car wisely getting out of the way there. Question was on that restart if Landon Huffman in the 9 car may have beat Max Reeves to the restart line. Not a restart zone in the ARCA Menards Series platform. There is a restart line. It is the first of the 2 lines painted on the racetrack. So race control looking that over to make sure that Max Reeves indeed was first to the line. Let's take a look at what put us under the caution flag, and he's going to come into screen sideways. George coming to a stop there at pit road entrance. And anybody who follows the antics of Cletus McFarland knows those two are thick as thieves. We're going to step away for a very quick 60-second break. When we come back, we'll reline them up and get set to race them to the checkered here in the Cookout 200. We're going to head down trackside. Jacqueline Drake standing by with the legendary 10-time ARCA champion Frank Kimmel. Jacqueline?
Yeah, crew chiefing today for Landon S. Huffman. And we just want to check in and see what's going on that radio between you and Landon.
Well, Landon's doing a great job, and our car's really running well. We're real happy with it. We over-adjusted a little bit at the halftime break. We don't have as good a turn as we did before the break, so he's battling hard to just keep where he's at, but doing a great job, and great for Hoosier and all the guys at the Hoosier Mama and Daddy. Pretty cool to be here, be cool racing this well. So Isaac's doing a really good job, too, battling back, too. So.
All right, coming back to green, Landon Huffman on the hammer, spinning the tires a little bit there. He's going to give up a little ground to that front row. Let's see what Tristan McKee can do in the 77. McKee hanging on the outside there. Couldn't quite keep the nose to the outside of Max Reeves. Let's see if he can diamond that corner off and get to the inside. Some hard racing at the front of the field. Everybody trying to knock Max Reeves off the top of that leaderboard. Look at this battle for position. There's Nick Tucker in the 70. Destiny Spurlock in the 66. She's to the inside of Isaac Kitzmiller. And this, a battle for position. What an impressive run for Destiny Spurlock in that 66 car. Racing with the reigning ARCA Menards East Series champion. For position here late in the race. Ooh, some contact there. Connor Hall using the old chrome horn there on Derek Neeland, moving Neeland up the racetrack. Hall, these two have been swapping 4th and 5th on the racetrack for the last 20 laps. Hall, it's now his turn to put the nose of the 24 car back out in front. Let's see if Neeland returns the favor down into turns 1 and 2. Neeland not going to be able to get up there close enough to knock on the back door. Look at this, racing all around the racetrack. There is Isaac Kitzmiller in the 79. He's worked his way past Destiny Spurlock and now Nick Tucker in the 70. So Kitzmiller back up to 6th. Tucker back to 7th. Spurlock holding on to 8th. Caution flag going to come back out. Brian Barbaro in the 34 car with the hat trick. Unfortunately, 3rd time he has gone around. So that will put us under the caution flag with 35 laps remaining. And I'll tell you what, I think as we get closer to the finish, these restarts going to continue to be adventurous. Bill, what are you thinking?
Well, I think Tristan McKee realizes that his shot might be on the restart, because once we get a few laps under our belt, Max looks like he has the car to beat, obviously. But Tristan McKee has been really, really good on the restart. That was his best opportunity right there. He was able to stay with him for a few laps. So we'll have to see, as you mentioned, as we get down towards the end, whether he uses that bumper to move him out of the way. If Tristan would get track position, it would be interesting to see if Max would be able to get back by him. But Max has been pretty flawless tonight, though.
So this racing surface has been, I think, 31, 32 years since it's been repaved. A lot of bumps all over the racetrack. How much of a disadvantage is it to be up in that outside lane for these restarts?
You know, as long as you got a little bit of grip up, there's no grip anywhere on this racetrack, so it's probably not that much worse on the outside than it is the inside. But as you mentioned, the bumps. I was here before this racetrack was paved 30-some years ago and after, and it's amazing the job they did paving it. Did I hear you say that they're going to repave this coming up
a couple of months from now?
In a couple of months. Wow, that'll be lightning fast. I think we picked up a second when we paved it the last time, and these guys are doing a great job. As you mentioned, what a terrific crowd. This reminds me of the good old days back in the 80s when we had Busch Series here with this kind of a crowd.
It definitely has that same feel to it for sure. I sat in the crowd here a couple of times for Busch Series races back in the 80s, and just remember there not being a lot of room in the grandstands those days, and trying to navigate yourself down to the concession stands earlier today, shoulder to shoulder throughout the concourse here. Great job by Bob Sargent and everybody at Track Enterprises, the promoters of the event here tonight. Great job by the staff and management here at the racetrack to accommodate such a terrific crowd. First national level touring series race since that old Busch Series race here back in 1998.
Yeah, but great weekly racing here as well. I every now and then, I haven't been here in a couple of years, but every now and then, if I didn't have anything to do on Saturday night, I'd come here and catch some great short track racing.
So lights out on the pace car. We will go back green flag racing with 31 laps remaining. Max Reeves, again, the only driver in the field with lane choice on the restart in the ARCA Menards platform, is the leader. So Max electing the inside lane, getting a little close there with Tristan McKee. I think he's letting him know who's boss as we get set to come back to the green. Coming back to the restart line right there. Reeves with the advantage. He will get on the gas. Down into turn one. Let's see if McKee is able to keep him inside. Ooh, McKee losing a little ground on that restart. He's going to give a couple of car lengths to Max Reeves. As the battle on now for third and fourth. Here comes Connor Hall on the outside in the 24 car, trying to find some racing room with Landon Huffman. Huffman going to drift up the racetrack and close the door. Wow, some intense. Ooh, a little bit of contact there through the center of turns 3 and 4. Was just about to say we have seen a lot of close quarters racing, and Connor Hall pulling out the old chrome horn right there through 3 and 4. See if he gives another shot to Landon Huffman down into 3. Huffman going to move up the racetrack. He's going to give up a couple of positions. Nealon now to the inside. And you knew it was going to get a lot more aggressive as the sand kind of slipping through the hourglass. Let's see what Nealon now does. Nealon with a shot. Huffman got to kind of feel like a pinball here with laps running out. Kitzmiller starting to feel a little aggressive.
What do you think Shane Huffman, Landon's dad, is thinking right now?
Boy, I asked him about that earlier. I said, so are you dad or are you? He says he's off on his own tonight. We got business of our own to take care of. And boy, I don't think he thought those two cars would be racing for position this late in the race. But indeed, that's exactly how it's turned out. The Pinnacle Racing Group number 28 that Shane oversees, trying to work his way past Shane's young son Landon here late in the race. Huffman holding on to fourth with Derek Nealon now trying to work his way past in fifth.
Yeah, Landon has a lot of local knowledge here. Obviously raced a lot in the late models here at Hickory.
4-time late model stock car winner here at his home racetrack. Building a little breathing room there over Derek Nealon. As we jump back to the front of the field, there is the advantage for Max Reeves over second place Tristan McKee. This is probably the closest we have seen somebody this deep into a run. And even still, McKee now just over 1 second behind Max Reeves as we're closing in on the 20 lap to go mark. Now 22 laps remaining, and boy, that 18 car continuing to just pull that advantage.
Yeah, they really made that 77 car a lot better, though. He was not that good in the first half of the race, but now obviously is a strong second place car.
We talk about veteran leadership on the pit box, and you wouldn't think it, but Kevin Reed Jr. is still in his 20s, a lot of experience on top of the pit box as we've got Barbaro sideways one more time down the back. It has been a tough debut tonight for Brian Barbaro in that number 34 car. Brian, a U.S. Army veteran who has transitioned from the military, now a full-time airline pilot. I said, Brian, what type of airlines, what type of planes do you fly? He says, I fly the Airbuses, the big ones. So
which airline?
He didn't tell me the airline, but I know where you're going there. I know where you're going. But it has not been the greatest of debuts tonight for Brian, but he'll shake the rust off here and hopefully have a better run at it next time. You see a little damage there to the right rear quarter panel of that number 34 car. Of course, this is the car that Austin Vaughn drove to the ARCA Menards East Rookie of the Year award in 2025. See if we can take a look at what happened to Brian. And right there, he's going to get up and make some contact with the outside wall, and that car is going to slide down to the infield grass down into turn 3. You ever had a night like that, Phil, where just nothing? How about you, Logan? Just have a night like that where nothing goes right?
Oh, yeah. We had that at Daytona.
All right, we're going to send it down to Jacqueline Pitside. Jacqueline, what you got?
Yeah, guys, we're over here in the pit stall of the 95 of Jackson McLeland, and they are absolutely excited because in that caution, they are now back on the lead lap. Now, to rewind it back just a little bit, they broke their transmission yesterday in practice. They took it back to their hotel and repaired it in the parking lot, although they said they thought about repairing it inside the hotel room and then thought better of it. Maybe we'll just stick to the parking lot. But they're excited, and they have plans to head to Rockingham should all go well today in this race. But, man, they are clapping and cheering, excited for the opportunity to be back on the lead lap and race for position.
Jacqueline, another cool thing, and it's a very small decal on the tail end of that car, but today that Man Motorsports team is also honoring Private First Class Luther Rhodes, who was killed in action back in 1942 in the Battle of Guadalcanal. His remains were not identified until 2025. They did a DNA test with his brother, brought him back to the state of North Carolina, being interred today here in his home state. So a hero from 1942 on the tail end of that car.
We certainly appreciate that family's sacrifice and their service.
And this is a big development right here. Connor Hall bringing the 24 car down onto pit road. See if we can get Jacqueline down there to give us a quick update of what's going on there. But a very tough break for Connor Hall, who is going to drop out of the top 5 with just 15 laps to go. And it's like Connor Hall climbing out of that automobile. So a short end of the night for what could have been a top 3 finish here tonight.
Yeah, what a tough break. But as you mentioned earlier, how excited is he about going to Rockingham for his first truck series start next week?
And I see Jacqueline standing by. So once we get back Green Flag Racing, we'll see if we can't get a quick update as we get back to the restart. 15 to go. Max Reeves leading. Tristan McKee to the outside. Let's see if McKee can drive it in deep. Look at this. We're going to stack them 3 wide for the lead. Here comes Layden Huffman to the inside. Battle on for the lead. Huffman going to move. Max Reeves up the racetrack. Here comes McKee to the inside. 3 wide battle for the lead. McKee to the inside. Huffman to the lead. They're banging fenders. Here comes Max Reeves again to the inside. A little slip and slide, dip and dive. Ooh, Huffman going to get into the back of Max Reeves. Oh, Derek Nealand sideways. Wow. Some intense action. And again, a shot of the bumper. Here comes McKee to the inside.
I think the gloves are off.
It is happening so fast we can't keep track of what's happening. Here comes McKee with the lead off of turn 4. Here comes Huffman to the inside. They're going to make contact. Huffman's going to go around. Oh, my goodness. The gloves were off on that restart. We saw Huffman to the lead. We saw McKee to the lead. We saw Reeves trying to take it back. And it all is going to come to loggerheads as Landon Shane Huffman getting turned sideways has a 3 wide battle for the lead with just 11 laps to go. And I'll tell you what, I need to catch my breath after that one, Phil.
Yeah, I think we need to see if we're going to get a replay on that. But that definitely looked like it had a little bit of anger behind it, a little bit of upset of all the beating and banging and switcheroos and dirty moves that were just made.
You saw some dirty moves, Phil. What did you see right there?
Really hard racing, but once the initial contact was made, then it was everybody was doing it. All three cars were beating and banging.
And unfortunately, a little bit of damage there on the 9 car for Landon Huffman. And I'll tell you what, for Max Reeves, as we take a look at what happened.
Yeah, there was a lot of contact prior to this right here, but this is the spin by Huffman.
And almost getting tagged there by Destiny Spurlock. Destiny doing a nice job. This is one of the numerous instances of contact. There is, unfortunately, Landon getting turned sideways as he's to the inside of Tristan McKee. We're going to send it down trackside. Jacqueline standing by with Connor Hall.
Yeah, before all that racing action, Connor Hall actually pulled down in the pit area, and you're out of the race now. What happened with that car and ultimately ended your day?
It's definitely a first for me. I had a vibration on the long run, and then when the yellow came out, I went to downshift, and the shifter was in my hand, and the drive line was dragging the racetrack. So I guess we don't even know what happened yet. We got to get the thing back to the shop and take a look at it. But really, this was, I don't think we had a winning car by any means, but we definitely had a lot more speed than the last outing we had as a team. So kudos to Blake and all the guys at SPS. So they've done a lot of work this offseason. Joe Farre for the opportunity, and everybody that made this happen. It was really fun. I love racing at Hickory. I love the ARCA series, and just looking forward to more.
Wow, heartbreaker for Connor Hall. It was running well up until that point for that number 24. And I just have to say, guys, up in these grandstands, it is packed. And in that last moment, in that last restart, every single fan is up on their feet, cheering, jumping, and having a great time. It's such a cool atmosphere here at Hickory tonight.
And there is a look at those fans on their feet. They know what we're about to see. It was as crazy as that was. I think we're about to see more craziness. Phil, if you are sitting in third coming to this restart, you have to know you got a good shot at this one.
Oh, yeah. If I'm Isaac Kitzmiller, I'm licking my chops because I know there's going to be contact between the front two for sure.
And there is a guy who came out on the short end of the stick on that previous restart. It looked like Landon Huffman may have put himself in position to maybe battle for the win here. Unfortunately, after getting spun with now less than 10 laps to go, Landon's going to restart back in the 8th position. But I'll tell you what, as crazy as that restart was 10 laps ago, it could be just as crazy here. Let's see what happens. McKee scored as the leader. He will have lane choice. He has elected the inside lane. Max Reeves to his outside. That second row could be the guys in the catbird seat right here. We're about to see how racy we get for the lead.
The real advantage is for the leader because he's the one that knows when he can go. Obviously, the 18 cannot beat him to the punch.
And right there, Tristan McKee on the hammer coming to the restart line. He's going to lead him off down into turns 1 and 2. McKee going to get the advantage off of turn 2. Reeves going to fall back in line. Here comes Isaac Kitzmiller trying to stick the nose down to the inside of Max Reeves. McKee holding on to the lead. Now 5 laps to go. Lap 195 in the books. 5 to go. Does Max Reeves have enough race car and enough time to get back up there and steal the lead from Tristan McKee?
It looks like Max's car is a little bit off the pace right now compared to what he had earlier. Maybe he's just saving his tires for the last lap.
He's going to have to get up there to get in position to make that charge on the last lap. Coming to complete lap 197, 3 to go for Tristan McKee. Reeves now 3 car lengths back. The battle on now for 3rd and 4th. Nealon with a shot on the back bumper of Isaac Kitzmiller off at turn 2. Racing all over the racetrack here as we come to 2 to go this time around. 0.3 of a second the gap. Just a matter of car lengths at the front of the field. Tristan McKee will be looking at the white flag this time around. Final lap here in the Cookout 200. McKee leading Max Reeves by 2 car lengths. No lap traffic. Down the backstretch, McKee feeling no pressure now through turns 3 and 4. And look at this, Tristan McKee going to steal one here tonight. McKee going to pick up the win here at Hickory Motor Speedway. Max Reeves coming across in second. Isaac Kitzmiller, Derek Nealon, and Nick Tucker rounding out the top 5. And despite not having a perfect race car, Tristan McKee finding a way to get it done, and he will park it down in victory lane, the winner of the first ever ARCA Menards East race here at Hickory Motor Speedway.
Charlie, thanks for having me.
You got it, buddy. I look forward to seeing you at Kansas. Thanks for popping in, Phil.
Yes,
Phil
sir.
Parsons joining Logan Mizuraka and I up here in the tower. Logan?
Well, it looks like he just dropped that left front there on that celebration. And if you just look at that car, you can see all the beating and banging they did when they were racing really hard towards those last 10 laps. They definitely put that car through the ringer.
That was wild.
Right?
I don't know how you were able to kind of pay attention to what was. I was having a hard time with all that paint swapping and beating and banging, but I'll tell you what, that guy right there did not have.
Yeah, I think I'm lucky I wasn't keying up because I was screaming and jumping in here. Phil was like, sit down, sit down.
It was a little crazy on the
Yeah.
racetrack and a little crazy up here in the tower as well. But Tristan McKee parking it down in victory lane, and we will send it down trackside to Jacqueline Drake to hear from tonight's winner.
Absolute barn burner here tonight at Hickory. Tristan's going to put on the winning hat. They're going to get all the victory lane items out here. The team's got the water bottles. I got to watch out because things are going to go down here. Lots of celebrating going to happen. Tristan's dad's just walking up, congratulating Kevin Reed Jr. on the win. The crew chief, we were getting the confetti ready. And out of the car he comes. Winner today, Hickory, Tristan McKee.
One second.
Tristan, congratulations. A barn burner at Hickory for the first ever ARCA Menards Series East race. Covered in water, emotions are high. What is the moment and the feeling mean to you right now?
Yeah, it's really awesome. After the past day and a half here, we were struggling with the car quite a bit, and Kevin and all the guys made a really good adjustment at the halfway break, and just the car came alive. After that stop, I passed up to second or third, and we were kind of battling, and then they got into it there, and I was like, okay, this is my shot. Like, I got to go here. So I got a good launch there and just ran my best 4 laps at the end there and came away with the win. So thanks to Tibbetts for coming on board. Spire, Gainbridge, everything they do for me, allow me to come do this, and all the PRG guys for believing in me. It's really cool to be here in Victory Lane.
Tracks like this one tonight are the ones that raised you. We've quite literally seen you grow up in these race cars. And then your winner today in the ARCA series, has it really set in yet?
A little bit. It definitely feels good to get some redemption here after the Cars Tour race here last year, but it feels really good here, to be in victory lane, just like I said. So thanks to all the PRG guys. Like I said, they made some good adjustments, and we really worked hard on this car all weekend.
Congratulations. Your race winner tonight in the Cookout 200, the 77 of Tristan McKee.
What a great run. What a great final 4 laps there by Tristan McKee. And boy, it's going to take me a moment or two to catch my breath, and I'll bet you it's going to take those race fans a couple of moments to catch their breath. They saw an incredible final 25 laps here in the Cookout 200. We're going to send it back down trackside. I know he did not have the finish that he wanted, but Max Reeves coming home second here tonight. And I thought Jacqueline was in place, but I think Max dipped out for a second. So we'll put Jacqueline on the case and track down Max Reeves. But in any case, he had a very great, very strong race car here tonight. And I see him down trackside chatting with another one of the drivers, perhaps discussing some of the activity, as I see Jacqueline now sliding in there. We'll send it back trackside to Miss Jacqueline Drake. Jacqueline, what you got?
Yeah, the guy that's been fast all night, that number 18, but ultimately finishing in second tonight. How do you feel about your performance and just the last few laps and how all that ironed out?
Yeah, we were the best by far tonight, and props to Tristan McKee and all them at PRG. They were good too, but they're nothing on us. The 9, I don't know what the plan was, but, I think he was trying to take me and the 77 out, but if you can't beat them, you got to wreck them, so that's, this reminds me of that one interview with Kyle Busch, and he cried at the haters, But there's a reason I'm in that car and not one of these other ones. So, you know, I'm just thankful to all my guys for everything. And I love all these haters. That's my favorite part of racing, and I'm just thankful to be here.
Max Reeves finishes in second tonight.
I think we call that a mic drop moment right there for young Mr. Max Reeves. You knew he was going to be frustrated after leading 185 laps here tonight. Logan, what do you think after that one?
He just made his statement and made his foot and stood in it.
He sure did. He sure did. He may have reason to be upset, but he, of course, a very Huffman partisan crowd here at Hickory Motor Speedway. Jacqueline standing by with our third place finisher tonight, Isaac Kitzmiller. Jacqueline?
Yeah, rounding out the podium right here. It just had a few words there with your crew chief. It seemed like it was a bit of an emotional exchange here. What does this mean for you to finish in third tonight?
Yeah, it's super big. Thank you guys for coming out tonight. That was awesome. Yeah. But this crew stuck with me all night. It was not a very good race on my part, and I struggled on restarts and just messed up. But I just can't thank this whole CR7 crew, Carter Cat, Reynolds, All Construction, A&J Excavating, Cobra Mining, Cody Roball, and everybody, Doug Howe, Casper, Matt, and everybody that helps at the shop. They work so hard on these things. Like I said, it wasn't my best race, but thank you guys.
Great finish tonight. The 79 of Isaac Kitzmiller rounding out the podium in third place.
You know, he says it wasn't his best race, but it was his best career finish, coming home tonight in third with a little bit of damage to that race car. So Isaac Kitzmiller doing exactly what he needed to do here tonight, keeping that car mostly out of trouble. Of course, that damage coming on a restart. And absolutely thrilling finish here tonight. Tristan McKee, perhaps with, I'm going to call it an upset. You don't normally think a Spire Motorsports Pinnacle Racing Group car ending up in victory lane is an upset, but
I'm happy about it.
To beat Max Reeves to the checkered flag tonight, I think that's an upset. Max coming home in second. Isaac Kitzmiller coming home third. Derek Nealand with a terrific run to finish fourth here tonight, as is Nick Tucker, who finished in the fifth place position. Landon Huffman recovering to finish sixth. Destiny Spurlock with a fantastic debut performance. She finished seventh. Jackson McLaren. Craig Pellegrini, first time we are able to give Craig a shout out, and Austin Vaughn rounding out the top 10. We're going to send it down to Jacqueline, who's standing by with a guy who finished 13th here tonight in what was an adventurous ARCA Menards East debut. Jacqueline standing by with Squirrel McNutt. Jacqueline?
Yeah, it sure was. And you're just standing here beaming with happiness. How was it in your first ever stock car racing debut?
It was absolutely incredible. I just want to thank Heatwave. I want to thank Red Jones Racing. Hey, you go to Heatwave, get you some glasses, you code McNutt, you get 10% off. Remember that. But the fans out here were awesome. I had an amazing time. Hey, my goal was don't crash the car. I got her in the mud a little bit. I got a little greedy in the beginning, but that ain't no big deal. It'll wash off. The metal's good. Metal's good, and we finished the race, so I'm... Did I get last place? I don't even know where I finished at. 13. Hey, that's a good number. Well, hey, my first race. That's for the Biff right there, man. Thank you guys so much.
I love it. Car looks good. You can see right here on the right side, no damage. Just a few scuff marks from out here riding around and doing a little bit of bump and running on that zero, but that was LS George.
And you could absolutely hear the emotion in his voice when he started talking about Greg Biffle right there. A lot of people don't realize just how close Cletus McFarland and George and Greg had become over the course of the last couple of years, and still very missed by all of us here in the NASCAR community. And I do want to give a shout out as we wind down the show. It has been a tough start of the year for a lot of us in the ARCA Menards Series community. I want to give my best wishes to my good friend Randy Brackett, who lost his wife earlier in the week. I know a couple other members of our community, Deb Meyer, who does credentials for ARCA, Jen Reddy. My own father has been struggling with some health issues. Just take care of your people, folks. The people who matter to you, you only get to go around this world once. And unfortunately, some of us have had a loss here the last couple of weeks. So some virtual hugs to all of you out there who have been struggling with some things. And just keep everybody close to you, close to you as we send it back down trackside to Jacqueline, who's standing by with Destiny Spurlock, who had a phenomenal debut here tonight. Jacqueline?
Oh boy, did she ever have an amazing debut. You finished not only in the top 10, you finished 7th on the lead lap. There was only 8 cars on the lead lap tonight, and the car is still looking great. Did you have a good time or what out here at Hickory?
I had a great time. First and foremost, thank you, God. Thank you to my ancestors. Thank you to my family, my friends, and most of all, my sponsors, Foxteca and Carl at NBM. Listen, when I said they gave me a rocket tonight, they gave me a rocket tonight. Of course, I'm still learning, but listen, I said the car feels good, so we're going for it.
You sure did. You were splitting 2 cars down the middle. You were taking it 3 wide. You were doing all the things that you could do out here at Hickory, and with a great finish. We just want to thank you so much for being out here, and we hope to see you back. Any other ARCA races in the future we can see you?
Oh, yes. We'll be at Rockingham, and then after that, Kansas, and then stay on the lookout for the schedule. Thank you, guys.
I love it. And that's going to be a wrap down here on pit road. Back up to you, Charles.
Thank you very much, Jacqueline. And what a night for Destiny Spurlock. First ever black female driver in the ARCA Menards Series platform, and look forward to seeing her a lot more throughout 2026. Well, congratulations go out to Tristan McKee and the entire Pinnacle Racing Group team on an impressive victory here tonight in the Cookout 200. Don't forget, folks, Flow Racing is your exclusive home for NASCAR regional racing, including the ARCA Menards Series East and West, NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour, and select NASCAR local series races across the country. On behalf of all of us here at Flow Racing and the NASCAR channel, my name is Charlie Krall. Certainly look forward to having you joining us at Rockingham Speedway for the upcoming ARCA East Rockingham 125.